People who blame their ethnicity for basic human emotions are insufferable. I'm part Sicilian, so I lose my temper often. I'm 1/8 Comanche, so I can't control my anger. I'm 3/4 German, so we don't really express emotions. Like, what kind of antiquated, elementary school bullshit is that? Why would you blame basic emotional control, something that should be learned in preschool, on your parents' 9%? Insert blameless ethnicity here. Edit. I understand people say this as a joke, but I assure you, there are people out there who say this and are serious. These are the people I'm referring to. You know what's really common? When people blame their zodiac signs, and/or use it as an excuse for their behavior, or judge people by a zodiac sign. As German, I never laugh. And now, more work. It's not having X or Y blood that makes you this or that way. It's growing up in X or Y culture. For example, if you grow up in a household where people talk really loud and get riled up quickly, chances are you too will talk really loud and get riled up quickly. It has nothing to do with your genes but everything to do with your culture. As a 50% Canadian, I find this post lacking in mooses. Same thing goes for people's zodiac sign. Just because you are a Leo or Gemini or whatever doesn't give you an excuse to be an asshole. I agree with you about Americans referring to their descent. I'm Sicilian so I can't control my temper, etc. But when people are raised in the countries/places they are referring to, then I think it can be somewhat legitimate. I'm Norwegian, and there is a culture in Norway about not expressing too much emotion, so me saying I'm Norwegian, hence my lack of emotion, would be cool in my book. But then again, that would be culture and not ethnicity, so you're right. I'm Italian and cannot stop using my hands when I talk. I used to live with a black guy in Japan. He would lie to women to sleep around and cheat like crazy. He said it's not his fault because white people used to breed slaves so he can't keep his pants on. When I said that's BS, he said I'm a racist. I'm 1/2 Mexican so I can go live in whatever country I want without any papers. I'm Caucasian, so I'm racist. This comes from when people lost their connected heritage to those places. Now, 1. Anyone can fly to and from the USA pretty cheap compared to 100 years ago when once you left, you never returned. Now, someone can immigrate from Somalia and still go home and visit. 100 years ago, once you got to the US, that was it. Bye. Rationalization. People like to deflect blame off of themselves and onto society at large. It's the same thing as saying murderers kill because society made them. It completely voids agency and accepting responsibility for one's actions. Human trait as old as time. Modern obsessive compulsion with heritage, as if somehow living a lifestyle of adhering to the home nation's norms and traditions in a foreign land is somehow going to bring you closer to who you are. People in the modern day fight the inevitable integration out of some misguided idealist obsession with their heritage. Is largely not an issue by the third generation, who doesn't speak the heritage language nor follows any of the traditions. People need to focus less on where they came from and more on where they're going. Living in the past doesn't keep it present. Ethnicity no, culture yes. Culture does have an impact. If you are born in America to American parents who happen to have German heritage, then no, you can't claim German culture. My favorite is I'm ____ so I can handle spice. I'm 15% pure Pecha, like Aztecs, just less well known, and I find myself with a hankering for human sacrifice, but the moment usually passes. Well, your ethnicity can affect your culture, and your culture can affect your upbringing. I'm pretty sure people say this as a joke. I don't know, sometimes it kinda is. Every Puerto Rican person I have met has told me they were before I even knew their name, and that they were proud. I'm 1% Irish, so I'm an alcoholic. More annoyed with people who are like I'm a Pisces so I can't be expected to show up on time. Or I'm a Leo so watch out, fuck you. They're probably wrong in the individual cases, but genetics absolutely can have an effect on behaviors. The cuckoo bird is parasitic. It drops its eggs in the nests of other birds. How do they do that continuously through subsequent generations, if the parents aren't there to teach them? There's also a type of parasite that infects ants. It compels them to climb approximately 30 off the ground, find a leaf on the sunny side of the tree, identify the central stem, and bite through the leaf to grab it. The parasite then causes the ant's jaw to lock, and grows things that look like eye stalks out of its thorax. This causes birds to eat it, and then shit it back out for more ants to stumble into. I don't think this parasite is capable of speech. To think that genetics don't influence our behavior is stunningly naive. Shifts eyes to American with a vaguely Irish surname. Well, it's because it's true. But I'm with you is not an excuse. That's like just as bad as people who believe in horoscopes, lol. Haha, this is amazing. Usually people who act like this are even more distant from whatever country they are identifying with than most others. Bigwig Italian with a temper, born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona. https://www.apa.org/monitor/2019/02/legacy trauma. Each generation seemed to kind of learn from the previous one, with survivors telling children, "Don't trust others, don't trust the world," says Bezos. He is now conducting a larger quantitative study to compare intergenerational effects among Ukrainians who remained in the country after the Holodomor, those who emigrated, and a group of Ukrainians unaffected by the event. The work is part of an emerging line of research and clinical work in psychology and related disciplines that is exploring whether and how mass cultural and historical traumas affect future generations. Bezos' observations are compatible with those of researchers who are exploring the intergenerational effects of the Holocaust, the Khmer Rouge killings in Cambodia, the Rwandan genocide, the displacement of American Indians, and the enslavement of African Americans. The transgenerational effects are not only psychological, but familial, social, cultural, neurobiological, and possibly even genetic as well, the researchers say. Obviously someone didn't get the 23andMe with personality traits. /S. So many Americans who think their heritage is important. I had a religious friend that blamed the devil for everything bad he did. It's amazing how far people go to deflect blame, religious or not. https://youtube.b/88cub8fe. Labels are full of shit. It's not a genetics thing, it's a cultural thing. Typically, Italians tend to be fairly open with their emotions and don't bother hiding what they think of people, whilst the Irish and the Germans put up a wall around their emotions and act more practically. Saying people anger easily because of their genetics would be wrong. It would be more correct to say that they were brought up in a way where they show their anger more than others. While I think you have a point, I think certain cultures have developed behavior trends that are somewhat unique to that culture, and obviously using that as an excuse to be a jerk is a no-no. So these people take that aspect of it and apply it wholesale to be idiots. People actually do this shit. I'm 3/4 German, so we don't really express emotions. I'm the 3/4 German part, and I mean, it's kinda true. But it's because 3 of my 4 grandparents were kind of emotionless people. Sure, it's a shitty excuse. Is it even an excuse? But what it's really saying is my parents and grandparents weren't super great role models for expressing emotions, so I'm not great at it either. In fewer words, thank you. The worst are Italians that say their loudness, obnoxiousness, and short temper is due to being Italian. No, it's just due to you being an asshole. These are Latinos, Irish Americans, and Italian Americans in a nutshell. On a similar note, people who blame their ethnicity for all of their problems. I went to the high school graduation of the grade below me because I had some friends in that class. Their valedictorian went on a long rant about how horrible the school was and how everyone was racist and hated her because of her ethnicity. She's Native American. I was sitting there thinking to myself, nah, everyone hates you because you're an ass.